back with another question. Question is, what settings or kernels would I use in Octane that's closer to real-time rendering performance of Eevee, RT, or Lumen from Unreal Engine? I guess direct lighting is using ray tracing, but still feels much more demanding and slower than other real-time render engines, even with the full Metal API support. I'm asking this also in support of these who want to use Octane X or Octane Render in Blender, but may feel discouraged and or misled into believing they need a premium Nvidia GPU. All right, first thing first, that uh, Octane is not a real-time render engine. It's not an Eevee, it's not a Lumen. It's not it's not. Those are real-time render engines. So if you want that type of feel, use those render engines. But if you got a project where you don't need that, then use Octane or Cycles or Redman or Arnold or whatever you want to use. So you're like comparing two different things that don't really correlate. Like, is a Ferrari faster than a minivan? Well, they're completely two different things, right? It's not even the same comparison. So I wouldn't look at it like that. Next, you do need a NVIDIA GPU to run Octane, period. Octane only works on NVIDIA GPUs, right? And it works for on Mac. It works on the Macs. But if you have like some AMD or some other different type of GPU, unfortunately, you need CUDA. You basically need a NVIDIA CUDA. Now, there are ways that you can set up Octane to render faster or to render faster in the viewport if you need it. Matter of fact, let me just jump in and ask my bot, but I'm like, the comparison is not a really good comparison. Why would I try to compare anything to Eevee? Eevee is Eevee. I would never try to say that Octane is faster than Eevee, because Eevee is a real-time render engine, right? So like, right. So I wouldn't go about comparing them like that too. So I'm actually going to drop your question in here into my Octane bot, and let's see what it suggests. I need your help. All right, what do you need my help? Let me know. I have a question from a fellow member in our YouTube community, and this is their question. Can you answer it to the best of your abilities? And if you guys are new here, I do have a free Blender 101 guide. Teaches you everything I know about Blender Octane for free. Links down in the description. All right, absolutely. Here's a streamlined teaching style answer to Otoy, from Otoy to your YouTube community question, designed to clarify how do you approach Octane for a real-time like performance. Quick answer: use the direct lighting kernel with GI mode equals diffuse, low maximum samples like 16 to 64, and modest bounce settings. This gives you the quickest, most Eevee-like performance in Octane. So then this will just basically a step-by-step on how to set the settings that you would need there. Why is this faster? Why this feels faster than Cycles or path tracing? Octane's direct lighting is significantly faster than path tracing, PT, or the PMC, which are unbiased and more physically accurate, but also much slower. Unlike Eevee or Unreal, which uses rasterization of hybrid techniques, Octane is still fundamentally ray-based. Direct lighting gives speed by trading off full GI accuracy for speed, your best approximation of a real-time feedback. So basically, the bot says the same thing I say. Like, Eevee and real-time engines are completely different than a basic, what he just said, an unbiased, more physically accurate render. It's not made for speed. It's made for realism. It's made for physically accuracy. So to compare those two would be different. I would just say, if you need the speed of Eevee, use Eevee or use Unreal. If you need realism, use Cycles or use Octane, and you're going to trade that off for speed, okay? Octane what is this here? Octane is a path trace. Octane is a path tracer like Cycles. In terms of speed, it is equal to or slower than Cycles. The candid comparison highlights that the viewport real like time feel direct lighting is only practical, the only practical Octane option, right? Because they're not the same. So here is the cheat sheet for the setting that up. GI diffuse, your samples, diffuse clamp, diffuse depth, all the numbers here, and then what you want to do as far as set that up. So that's basically how I would answer that. They are not clearly the same. Also, love this add-on. Such a massive time saver. Keep up the great content. You are welcome. Much appreciated. Thank you for the support. If you guys are also interested in checking out the Blender Octane lighting add-on, I'll have the link down in the description of this video. So if you guys are new to these videos, I basically documenting my journey of learning Blender Octane, and also in public learning how to discipline myself to make money off of a passion that I like, playing in Blender, playing in Octane, and through my school community, which I've established here. I'm making basically about $475-ish a month through my Blender school Octane community. And what I'm going to do on these daily reports to help me to be disciplined and to put in the reps, because if you want to make money in doing something or a business, you're going to need discipline. And this is the reason why I do this. And really, even today, I'm going to get into a little real talk just for a moment here. I didn't want to do this. I was already starting to fall off the train, and I was like, you know what? No, get back on it. This is what separates the 1%ers. Discipline, doing the action when you don't want to do it, getting out there and continuing to do that. Or for some of you guys who might be watching, making your first render, yeah, it sucks, but guess what? Keep doing it, keep putting in the reps. Your renders will get better. If you don't do it, your renders will suck and you'll be sad and whatever, right? If you constantly put in the work and get 1% better each time, 30 days from now, your render will be better than that first day one render. Guaranteed. Just got to put in the work. So that's why I'm showing back up today, because I was already starting to fall off the train, and I'm like, no. So we're back on these here. Let's get into some more questions here. All right, next question we've got here. Did we answer that? And that's another clarity, guys. You do need to have an Nvidia GPU to run Octane, okay? Thanks for the video. Have a quick question. I'm using AGX, but I am not being able to figure out how to use the OCIO look when using aovs Blender Octane. Do you have any clue? That's actually a great question. That's gonna have to come down to when you're inside of Blender. I have this starter file that I made for my community members, and this starter file already has all of our compositing passes set up. If you can see here, we have all of our passes set up for Blender Octane. And to do that, you're going to need to set up your aovs. And I do remember seeing that there is a special, let's see here, there is a special node for outputting your, there it is, ICO color space. So I do not have AGX set up on my system because I don't really use AGX. I just save everything as EXRs and change it to whatever color space I need it to be, or gamma in DaVinci Resolve. So EXR is just raw linear. I can change it to basically anything, I can change it to anything, unless it's aces, then I can export aces. But if it was loaded, this is where I would show up. You will see AGX, and then I can select my AGX output, and then I will go ahead and use that pass and put that pass in here into my render passes. But again, like I said, I don't use that. I do all my color space transformation inside of DaVinci Resolve. Octane node shader preview. Octane node shader preview. What do you mean? Octane node shader preview. Yes, we do have we have node Wrangler for Octane. So that is basically, if you come, and I think it's here, go into my preferences, and I come in here, node, right here, node Wrangler 3.47, custom build for Octane. So I can basically do the same thing that I was doing inside of You know, here is my guy, for example. I don't think I have my server turned on here at the moment. You can see here I've got my guy here. Oops. And if I jump over here, oh, what's going on here? There we go. And then let's see if I click on this, I hold down it, boom. It does that. But it's getting a little bit weird at the moment because I have two of these in here, so I'll just delete that one right there. Connect this back here. And there it is. You can see it working right there. So yeah, it works. We have it, Node Wrangler. Another question here. Thank you for sharing. You're so kind. Even after I had left, you still sent me the tutorial video, and I'm truly touched by your thoughtfulness. But to be honest, I find that Octane really isn't as beautiful as I hoped it. Doesn't achieve the quality I was looking for. Sorry to hear about that, and that you didn't get the results that you were looking for with Octane. So again, guys, Octane is, I'm not here to promote and say that Octane is the almighty, like, only choice. It's just another rendering, just like shoes, right? You know, you're not gonna wear some nice church shoes to work, to go do some construction, right? It's the same, like cycles, like I talked about earlier. Cycles is cycles. There might be certain things that you need cycles for, certain looks or certain nodes or things. Same with Eevee. You go to Eevee because you need the speed. You need, you know, real timeness. You don't need photogenic quality, especially if you're doing something that's very stylized. You can use Eevee. You know, maybe there's something that you want from Renderman, like you want that Pixar look. Well, it would be more appropriate to use the Renderman render engine, which is also available for Blender if you didn't know that, right? So I look at it as these different render engines are just like different types of pairs of shoes. Each pair of shoe is made for its own special occasion, and that's why I think many people should think about it like. But a lot of people come here and they feel like that I'm like, you know, saying that Octane is the only thing. No, Octane is just what I prefer to use, and I'm sharing it out there because everybody's only worrying about Eevee cycles and Blender. That's because that's what everybody teaches, but everybody doesn't use those all the time. So I'm also just sharing the journey and sharing my love and knowledge of learning Octane. Not that I say that I don't use the other renders, because I do, but I just majority use Octane. So let's get into a little bit of our stat growths here and stuff like that. I'm going to wrap this one up here shortly. I already did them. I kind of went through earlier. Again, guys, I do have several other YouTube channels here. My second channel, which is going to be like these daily vlogs. And eventually what I'm going to start doing there is talking about how I'm building a community, how I'm actually making money from my community. Here is my school community. At the moment, I have 31 paying members. I am making $472 a month MRR, which means monthly reoccurring revenue. My churn rate is 6.61. Churn rate, for those of you who don't know what that means, that's how long people are staying in my community. Average is anything that's above 20 is pretty much normal. I'm way under the bar as far as people are actually staying in my community. So that's anything under 10 is very good. And then my click-through rate, which is actually kind of low, I want to get this up, is how many people are actually joining my my community. So in the last 7 days, I've had 70 people with a 1.43 click-through rate, and one has signed up. Okay, and I don't sell. I can sell more courses and stuff inside my community, but I don't. I choose not to at the moment. So that is a little bit of some of the stats from my community here, which I'm also tracking. Again, why do I track this stuff? Because if you track things, you tend to know more about that, and you can get a real-time feel of it. Plus, it's part of my game of trying to build discipline and showing up every single day, even those times like today where I didn't want to do it and I almost fell off the train today, right? So I'm getting back on it. So you can clearly see I did lose a couple of members. We lost 2 members here a couple of weeks ago, but everything else has been holding steady. I was up to $512 a month, and about 70 people have visited my page in the last 7 days. My YouTube stats for today are as follows. We had 8 more new subscribers compared to the 25th. And again, why I track this, because now I'm seeing, like, if I look up here I was rarely posting. I was posting like maybe once a week. I was kind of posting once a week here. You can see the 5th, and then the next time I posted, you can clearly see, was on the 7th, and then I posted again. This is where I kind of started doing my daily post, and like, now look at, like, 3 days later after that, now look at the trend. Like I can see these numbers in real time. That's why I like tracking. So for those of you who do YouTube and you're not getting subs, well, try posting something every single day and you'll start to see a noticeable difference, right? So that's why I track these. And then building my new YouTube channel, my second one here, we've also been growing. We went from 9 subscribers up to 14. So that's just a little bit quick look at the growth stats there. If you guys are interested in something like my Blender Octane community, I do have a free Blender 101 guide. Links down in the description down below. Catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.